As it is the physical act that reproduces life, it is deeply involved with the life force itself. There is no word in the languages spoken by mankind on this planet that can adequately describe the very complicated structure of this life force, or soul, and the many different elements of which it is made up. It's known that very promiscuous people contract physical diseases of the body, venereal diseases, and many others similar. It is not known that such people and others like them contract spiritual diseases through the misuse of the sexual act. Let no one imagine that the structure of the human society as it is made man and woman is a simple one, with lowly creatures created by evil forces who become male, and lowly creatures created by the divine who become female, both animal and human. All those who become human derive from many different planes, some from very high planes, with knowledge, wisdom, and benefits of all kinds to bring to mankind. These are those from high planes, who are always sent as men because of the very nature of the work that they have been sent to do. There are those, both male and female, sent to live lives of retribution. There are those high-planed women who are sent to work for the care of humanity. There are those whose lives are always more blessed than others, who are living lives in which retribution is owed to them. Most, both men and women, emanate in the beginning from low planes and live again and again, hopefully progressing with each lifetime lived. Some never progress beyond the ordinary physical lives and the rest planes. Some live only once before progressing to higher planes. And some of these return many generations later with the knowledge that they have acquired for the benefit of humanity, and some never return. One of the things I said when they were talking about venereal disease, there are other dictations about the many things that can happen to us which cause us to come back as deformed or damaged children. And tertiary syphilis, and even though we give people enormous amounts of antibiotics, it is a sexual disease of the most terrible kind. And some children who come back with Down syndrome very badly, some, I note not all because there are many reasons, they can be very loving and dear, but they are very often the effect of tertiary syphilis. And tertiary syphilis, I think in Victorian times, they reckon 1 in 10 people had syphilis. And they looked at the armies of the Napoleon's army when they were coming away from Russia, and they looked at some of the bodies that they found, and almost all of them had syphilis. So it is a terrible condition, and it makes you realize how, sort of how ignorant we are about sex and what an important thing it is. So this continues with a little bit, it goes on about the sexual act. The act of sex, or love play as it's often called, is of a far greater significance than people of today can fully understand or appreciate. It must be remembered that it is the act of procreation, the same in both the animal kingdom and for humanity, a procreation that does not create merely a physical being, but a spiritual and a physical one. Animals too have their spirit entity and a soul, and progress within their own planets much in the same way as humanity does. The act of procreation cannot therefore be merely a physical act, but is also a spiritual one. Women of all females of all species that procreate with one another to a certain degree are equipped for the part they play in their role of procreation. Women, being higher than animals, have a very special spiritual gift and strength, which they give not only to their children but also to men. It is creation's plan and will that they should give this strength to men, both in the act of procreation or sex, both as wives and mothers. They are therefore and can only be the strength of humanity. But if they misuse this gift and squander it in sex with many different men, their reservoir of strength quickly leaves them, as it would have been dissipated amongst many different men. If they use their strength for other pursuits and neglect to give it to their children and husbands, this is against the laws of creation, and they are depriving humanity of one of the strengths of which one of the greatest strengths which is theirs to give. Sometimes this love play is called free love, free in that it is given at random to any man. This freedom is perhaps a man's, but it is in fact the most costly and wasteful in terms of spiritual strength. But even for men, sex with many different women for whom they have no affection will diminish their spiritual strength and their potency, resulting in them becoming impotent in early middle age or even before. Hence the Roxane and the Viagra. The women of today who allow themselves to be exploited sexually and have no idea of the price they must pay in spiritual terms. Women have special spiritual privileges not given to men by the very nature of their task on earth, and do more often progress in spiritual terms. The harlot or promiscuous woman forfeits these gifts and very often returns to live another physical life as a man, but bereft of gifts either spiritual or physical, and fitted only to perform the most lowly of simple tasks. It is a woman's task to give love to her children and to her husband, and where she fails in this, she has failed in her most important role in this life. Modern attitudes and ideas have brought about one good thing only, and that is a warmer, more realistic attitude to their sexual role in marriage. Women of the past often regarded their sexual union with their husband as something to be endured, an unpleasant duty. This attitude has been completely swept away, which is a good thing, so long as it is not replaced by an attitude which creates a society where all women are harlots. The sexual act is all part of the life force. Part of this complicated structure is a commodity which has no name, for never has it been described in any language known to mankind. Let it be called motivating cosmic energy. Perhaps it can be said to be similar to electricity in ordinary terms. Without it, no child can be given life. It passes between a man and a woman. Where there is love, it gives enrichment to both. Where there is none, it simply takes from the woman. It can be stolen by malign forces which operate in this world, without which they cannot work so well in this physical world, with which they can create havoc. So people who perform sex magic, or all these black magic things, usually invariably involves, so I'm told, some kind of sex, and that is an appallingly awful, wicked thing. It's not only via foolish sexual orgies that it's released, but also from those who allow themselves to become hopelessly intoxicated under the influence of alcohol or drugs, when spiritual forces can tap this spiritual strength from mankind and use it to the detriment of humanity. Right, that's the end of that.